Greetings, Guardians. This is Olympus Alliance. Some heroes win battles through brute force. Some heroes win battles through overwhelming damage. And then there are heroes like Somna. Heroes that don't defeat you by hitting harder. They defeat you by preventing you from playing the game at all. Today we're talking about one of the most unique control heroes in Hero Wars, Alliance. A hero who hides her true danger behind an innocent appearance. The wolf in sheep's clothing. Somna. And Guardians, once you understand how her mechanics work, you'll quickly realize why she has become one of the most frustrating heroes to face in the game. Let's dive in. Wolves in sheep's clothing are often more dangerous than wolves that openly show their teeth. And Somna is a perfect example of that. There are many ways to control a battlefield, but putting enemies to sleep is one of the most effective. Sleep immediately disrupts enemy momentum. It breaks cycles. It interrupts synergies. It prevents combinations that would otherwise be difficult to stop. And that's only the beginning. Enemies affected by sleep become completely inactive. While they can wake up when they take damage, the real danger starts after they awaken. Because once they do, they receive a stack of drowsiness for 10 seconds. And Guardians, this is where Somna starts separating herself from other control heroes. Many control effects disappear the moment the enemy becomes active again. Somna's control continues working even after the sleep ends. Drowsiness reduces the physical damage enemies deal, meaning that physical attackers remain weakened even when they are no longer asleep. This makes Somna exceptionally effective against heavy physical teams. Heroes that normally overwhelm opponents through raw physical power suddenly become far less threatening. The damage they rely on simply isn't there anymore. And Somna doesn't stop there. Her drowsing blessing grants the nearest ally in front of her the ability to apply additional drowsiness stacks. Meanwhile, allies from the same faction extend the duration of drowsiness by another 8 seconds. This creates incredible battlefield pressure because the effect becomes easier to maintain and significantly harder for opponents to escape. The result is that enemies spend far more time weakened than they expect. And once drowsiness starts stacking, things become even worse for physical attackers. Because the effect doesn't only reduce physical damage. It also reduces armor penetration. Think about what that means. Physical damage dealers rely heavily on armor penetration to break through defensive heroes. Without sufficient armor penetration, enemy tanks suddenly feel much stronger. Defensive lines become significantly harder to crack. And entire physical teams can find themselves struggling to deal meaningful damage. Even hybrid teams that rely on multiple damage dealers can suffer because one of their primary offensive tools has been neutralized. Then we arrive at one of Somna's most dangerous abilities. Curse of the Wall. This is where her control evolves from disruption into complete battlefield domination. The skill continues applying drowsiness, but now it also reduces enemy armor, making opponents increasingly vulnerable. And then comes the mechanic that every Somna player loves. If an enemy already has 3 stacks of drowsiness, the next application transforms them into a sheep. And Guardians, sheep don't fight back. They don't attack. They don't execute skills. They don't contribute to the battle. Instead, they run around helplessly while the enemy team watches one of its heroes become completely useless. To make matters worse, any damage dealt to a sheep is increased. Meaning that once an enemy reaches this state, eliminating them becomes significantly easier. This combination of sleep, drowsiness and sheep transformations creates a battlefield where enemy strategies begin to collapse. Timings stop working. Coordinated attacks fall apart. damage dealers lose their effectiveness. And the opponent slowly loses control of the fight. This is what makes Somna so dangerous. She doesn't simply control heroes. She controls the flow of the entire battle. Naturally, this level of disruption creates some incredibly powerful synergies. Satori is one of the first heroes that comes to mind. While Somna is busy controlling opponents, Satori gains additional opportunities to apply Foxfire marks and punish weakened enemies with devastating magical damage. The longer enemies remain disrupted, the more dangerous Satori becomes. Folio is another excellent partner. His ultimate already delivers tremendous magical pressure, but when opponents are weakened, controlled or transformed into sheep, that damage becomes even more devastating. Well-timed Folio ultimates can completely punish teams that are struggling to escape Somna's control loops. Lien creates another nightmare scenario. Both heroes specialize in disrupting enemy actions. When their control abilities begin overlapping, opponents can find themselves trapped in a sequence of effects that becomes incredibly difficult to break. The result is a battlefield where enemies spend more time controlled than actually fighting. And then there is Cascade. Cascade's attacks become particularly threatening when directed toward enemies that have already been transformed into sheep. A helpless target is exactly the kind of opportunity Cascade loves to exploit. This combination can produce enormous amounts of pressure and often allows the team to quickly remove key enemy threats. And that's ultimately what makes Somna so special. She isn't a traditional damage dealer. She isn't a tank. She isn't even a conventional support hero. She is a battlefield manipulator. A hero designed to disrupt enemy plans, weaken physical attackers, control momentum and create opportunities for her allies. The moment opponents lose their rhythm, Somna takes control. And once she takes control, recovering from it becomes extremely difficult. So Guardians, if you're looking for a hero capable of shutting down physical teams, disrupting enemy strategies and creating some of the most frustrating control combinations in hero wars, Somna remains one of the best options available. Stay tuned, stay sharp. And as always, salute and friendship.